You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, me and Pat are going to talk about Coby White and Ayo Dosunmu getting qualifying offers and what that could mean for their future with the team. We're also going to talk about Vooch's upcoming extension. There's some rumors that the Bulls are trying to get him for a little bit less money than initially reported. And Derrick ROse has hit the free agent market. And as always, Bulls fans have gone absolutely crazy. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator. Oh, wait, I forgot. And the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. Can't forget that. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. Pat, Coby and Ayo Dosunmu officially get qualifying offers. Now, this is important for a couple of different reasons. Ayo Dosunmu's qualifying offer is $5.5 million. Coby White's is $7.7 million. 0.2. Okay, I knew it was something around there.
Them points, they ain't really, man.
Yeah, points, it is right? So
them us like, hey, dog, that's a car.
So this gives the Bulls a situation to match basically any offers that they get out there. Do you think that both won? Where are you at right now with both of them returning to the team?
I'm okay with both of them returning to the team. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that a lot of Bulls fans, and I got a video coming out on the Breeze talking about why Bulls are closer to success than many think, because there is a piece that is very important in all of these championship teams, minus like a LeBron team, right? LeBron, it's actually kind of impressive that he's pretty much just the outlier in championship runs of teams that are like, we're just going to buy a guy, and they buy LeBron, and the stuff works. It's crazy, right? But Denver, development. Milwaukee, development. Golden State, development. They did at KD, but those players had developed to the point where they was like, hey, we whooped KD.
They won the title without him before he got there.
Now KD want to come here. Yeah, I mean,
no.
You know what I mean? It's all of those teams you can talk about have development. You know what those teams didn't do? They didn't give up on their young players. The Bulls have a ton of young pieces on this team. They're trying to keep the young pieces around. Coby White clearly showed a step from 2 seasons ago to last season. Hopefully there's another step that comes in with the new coaching staff. I would assume we took a step back. Did it suck? Yeah. Is it what we wanted to see? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, a lot of those rookies in that draft class took a step back last season. And realistically, when you look at the situation that the Bulls are in now, the question that everybody has is, how do we get to the next level? How do we get to that championship level? That happens when you develop some young player into a star level player. And we haven't seen the Bulls do that. Zach LaVine has developed under the Chicago Bulls in some very trying circumstances, has developed under the Bulls. But outside of that, we haven't seen development on this team. Who's developed? I mean, you have to start developing some of your young pieces. I'm fine with keeping these two around, depending on what other people offer.
I mean, and here's the thing. I think that the Bulls are going to be, unless he gets a crazy deal, which he's not poison pill eligible, so I don't think he can get. Now, Ayo could get a poison pill deal. Yeah. Coby can't. So I think that like Coby's going to return. The bigger question I have with this, and I'm going to throw this to you, is like, do you think there's a chance of Ayo Dosunmu just taking the qualifying offer, similar to Ben Gordon, and keeping it moving? The only reason I ask that, $5 million. A little bit over that. It's probably more than what he's going to get as a contract. Now, of course, he'll get more money over more years, but Ayo could be in a position where, depending on what him and his agent talk about, could be willing to bet on himself for a year, maybe have a bounce back season, immediately hit the free agent market, and then get quite a big deal if he has another big season or a bounce back year.
I don't think Ayo has much of a choice, because here's the thing. If another team goes out and signs Ayo, let's say they sign him to a 3-year, $27 million deal, right? Like something where like you get a good chunk of money on the front end. The back end is like you can opt in and opt out, whatever. He's going to a team where he's not going to be the focal point. You're not going to be a major piece in that rotation. You're going to be a cog that, like, we paid a little bit of money on you. We basically got you for nothing. and you're here, you're making your money, go out there, do some stuff, but you're not going to have your voice heard in the room. You're not going to have your name already in the rotation. You're not going to be.
I got something to bounce back on that, but keep it going. I don't want to stop you in your middle.
You're not going to be the number one, or you're a number two option, I guess, at this point with Ayo Dosunmu in that system. Here with the Chicago Bulls, at a minimum, we know what Ayo is and some of the things that he isn't, but we do know that he will be a part of the Bulls rotation. He'll be a part of this point guard to shooting guard rotation, and he's going to get an opportunity to show something. So if you're going to try and bet on yourself, I think that's the only option here if you want to make more money long term.
The only thing, and this is a scenario that I was, me and CP the franchise talked about after we recorded the other day, is like, what if the San Antonio Spurs look at Ayo Dosunmu with all the cap space they have and say, you paired with a big man that didn't have nearly as much talent in college.
Yeah.
Trey Jones is on his way out. We're about to give you the bag. You go to a franchise that not give you the bag, but we're going to pay you anything that the Bulls could have paid you. But you get to come to a coach that develops. You get to come to a situation where, and I think that it actually may go well for Ayo if he's not the first or second option. Like, you just get to come in, do what you need to do. We need your exact skill set, and we're going to develop you.
I mean, listen, if the Spurs come knocking, I think Ayo might be crazy to not take it, but why? Yeah. That's always my question on the other side. Why do the Spurs want Ayo Dosunmu? Why the biggest thing that you would want him as probably is that guy to be the pick and roll guy with Wemby running the point guard position on that, and you saw him take a step back. Now, if you feel like you can make him better than that, that's a whole different situation. Yeah. But I feel like there's guys out there that the Spurs could go get who are above Ayo Dosunmu. They got all the money in the world. You can go out there to add a young piece that's definitely better than Ayo Dosunmu in free agency. Like we're viewing Ayo Dosunmu through the lens of, we saw your rookie year, we saw your sophomore slump. Now we're hoping there's going to be this junior boost, and all of a sudden you're back to basically where you were. The rest of the league probably isn't looking at that. The rest of the league is probably looking at, that man was okay last year, but like he got benched like 3-4 times.
The only team that I can see doing that is the Spurs, because they just seem to always feel like they can get the most out of guys. Like, they've taken a lot of players on the back end of benches and turned them into at least rotational players. You're still, at that point, Ayo, 23 years old. Yeah. Sky's the limit still for him theoretically. But the thing is, Ayo's from Chicago, and I know that's made a big part. I don't know if that plays the biggest part, as some people would like to think that it does with some people, especially when you're not the star of the team. It's different when you're the star. But I think ultimately, the biggest thing that I'm worried about is he takes the 1-year qualifying offer, no extension, and then he does have a bounce back year. And then at that point, you get into a difficult situation.
Well, I think at that point, right, you're talking about developing a young guy. If he has a bounce back year to the point where you're saying, oh my God, Ayo Dosunmu is exactly what we thought he was his rookie year, that's not a bad situation to be in. You just got to pay him.
I mean, that could make it a bad situation, because at that point you got to pay him, and you're looking at that point next offseason. We already talked about the next offseason is really the time for the Bulls to make a considerable free agency move. If you have to do that to just retain your guy rather than you lock him up for a cheaper contract now because he hits free agency again a year later, that can start getting a bit costly.
I mean, I agree with you, but I think at that point, right, you're paying for answers. You're not paying for questions. And that's the biggest thing. Right now, we're paying for questions. I love Coby. I love Ayo. I would like to see these guys continue to develop on this team. I think that there is potential with these guys, but I don't know. I don't know that Coby White's going to be a 38 to 40% three-point shooter for most of his career just because he can do it a couple of months out of an NBA season. I don't know that Ayo Dosunmu is going to bounce back to the defensive monster he was his rookie year and be able to add in another 11 to 12 points a game. I don't know these things right now. If Ayo Dosunmu does go out, does get, bets on himself, dominates this season, and he's back, me and you won't be sitting here talking about should the Bulls pay him? We'll be talking about, how did the Bulls get this done? When did the Bulls get this done? And I think that here's the thing at the end of the day. The Bulls have too many young pieces that if one of them develops, you have to buy into that guy. Because the only way you're going to get to that next step, the only way you're going to get to the Denvers and Golden States and all of those teams is if your guys develop, not if somebody else develops the guy and then you just bring him in and it works out.
And I think that's what we're going to see from AK2 is more betting on your own guys, because listen, we went out and got players, and Lonzo Ball's decided to go ahead and say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and head out on y'all.
And put you in a tough position. push you in a tough position. I mean,
which is a possibility with anybody. Not to the level of Lonzo, but it's always a possibility that injuries could come. But it's tough.
Here's the thing, realistically, right? When you think about this Bulls team, AK has not lied to us. This has not been a Gar Foreman, we're going to get younger and more athletic type of situation. AK said one thing when he came here: we're going to be a team that tries to make the right decisions, and we're going to build through the draft.
That was the only time he lied to us, because then immediately went away and traded a lot of draft picks. But
I mean, listen, he traded a lot of draft picks, but we still got Ayo Coby, we still got Patrick Williams, we still got Dalen Terry, we've still got like the draft pieces are on the team. We got a ton of them.
Haven't had a year without a draft pick since he's been here.
We've got a ton of draft pieces on this team. Now, whether we utilize them or develop them, I think that's the reason they had to go out and find a new head of player development, or should I say, a head of player development.
Yeah. It's good. It's great that they're investing in them, because I think that they saw like this quick try to add talent on the fly. It didn't work. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go back to what I did over in Denver. We're going to bet on our guys, put them in the best situation, and hopefully develop them into stars, and we'll see, man. Tell you what, we'll talk about that later on. We got to get into this ad break, man, before we get off. So we're going to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is the perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to my garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. We got no intro music today, so it is what it is there. No transition music. It's our superhero music. Next up, Pat, Vooch, the extension that came out yesterday, that the Bulls are actually trying to get Vooch on a more friendly extension that was initially rumored. So the deal initially was 3 years, about $65 million. What came out yesterday was 3 years, $55 million, which is considerable savings for Nikola Vucevic. The one thing that I'm worried about, I'm gonna throw this to you, is that if you try to nickel and dime Vooch, is he leaving? It's a dangerous game to play. But what do you think about Nikola Vucevic possibly signing a more team-friendly extension?
I think this says kind of that the Bulls are trying to keep Vooch, but they're also trying to do it at a extension that allows them to be able to make the team better in the future. And realistically, right, by the time Vooch probably is starting to be on his decline and the Bulls are going to be able to add, you'll have DeMar DeRozan more than likely no longer here. You'll be coming off of the Lonzo money. That's the time where they're going to try and do the most. And I guess they're trying to, that's a situation where you're trying to sell Vooch on the future and him being a part of it. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm not entirely confident that it's going to be the right decision at the end of the day, but I'm also not sitting here telling you that, maybe Vooch doesn't just really want to be here. Yeah. So I don't know. That's a tough situation for me. I heard that yesterday and I was like, I don't know if you want to play that game with a guy that's still got a lot of basketball left in him.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a situation. Do you think it's a situation where this is the Bulls trying to save face?
It could be, but I think more so like you look at the Bulls cap situation, and I think that maybe they are trying to convince him to sign a team-friendly deal to allow them a little bit more flexibility in free agency. I know there's been this thing going around that AKA has said that the Bulls can, which is not exactly what he said. Everybody's taking that and run with it. That's not exactly what he said, that we can go into the luxury tax this year. Like, I don't know how people hear AK straight up say, between 4 and 6, we can go into the luxury tax to keep our players, and we were the 10th seed. And now people have said and take that as now we can go into the anyway. But I think that maybe to maintain a little flexibility, the one thing is, like you said, you don't want to get into playing chicken with somebody you don't have the ability to replace. It'd be different if the Bulls had outright cap space and it's like, hey, listen, we got you for $55 million. If you don't want to take it, Jacopoto said he could take it. We can't do that. So it could get a little dangerous there for the Bulls.
I think here would be the question, right, at the end of all of it. Is this a situation where You know, you're trying to get him on this deal, but if he doesn't accept the deal, you're not that upset by it. Because does it suck for this season? Sure. You don't have, I mean, you're basically running Andre Drummond out there as your center, or you're going all in on Adama Sanago right away, and he's just like, hey, get in there, 6'9", long arms. That's exactly what we've been looking for at the center position.
7'4" wingspan. That's crazy. My man walking around here scratching his kneecap, standing straight up. Bro.
Hey, bro, you ever seen somebody do that, bro? That mess will throw you off in real life, bro.
I went to school with somebody's name was Reginald, right? Like I never like that dude's arms, bro. Like his butt would literally be sitting down, and the teacher would be like, "Can you grab that book off the top bookshelf?" We'd be like, "Yeah, cool." Not even gonna stand up. I just got you. But yeah,
wow. Nah, but I think at the end of the day, right, this could be a situation. I know Bulls fans have kind of accepted the fact that Nikola Vucevic is probably going to be back, but maybe this is a situation where Vooch is willing to come back, and the Bulls just don't want to look bad and say, "We don't want you back." So you got to offer him the money. You got to sit there and try and get him signed here. You offer him $55 million. Everybody's going to be like, well, they offered you a contract. It wasn't what you wanted, though. But they were in this position. These things happen, blah, blah, blah. Your front office saves a little face there. Vooch ends up signing elsewhere. I think there's a lot of things that could go into that. But I don't know. Maybe Vooch really is just all about the team. Maybe he's all about the vision that AK has. Maybe he's okay with signing a deal that is of that length. Now, I think at the end of the day, he's probably going to sign somewhere between 60 and 65. I don't think the Bulls are going to let $10 million dictate how they're going to be competitive this season. Yeah. Because I think that would be kind of stupid, but maybe, man, I don't know. That's an interesting one.
When it comes to the 3-year deal, like we're assuming, it's widely assumed it's going to be an option on the 3rd year. Who gets the option? Is it team, or do you think Vooch gets the option if it comes down to a 3-year deal?
I think if you're taking a team friendly type of thing, it's going to be Vooch.
Okay,
it's got to be. You know what I mean? I'm already
that may be the sticking point. Like if we give you if I'm giving you a hometown discount, I need that option.
Yeah, I'm already giving you love on the back end. Yeah. I mean, I'm already giving you love or on the bottom line.
That's what Zion said to Mariah Mills.
Woo!
who announced today that she's pregnant? Did you see that?
She announced Sunday that she's pregnant.
She announced today that she's pregnant. Mariah Mills is pregnant. So the drama's just gonna start all over.
Get that test. Bro, you go ahead and get that test.
Zion's agent is probably like, come on, man, bro. What we doing here?
That's
man?
The wild part. It affects nothing basketball. Like, nothing. Like, I mean, I guess it affects his knees a little bit, you know, when you got to hold 2 babies. But
oh man, wow.
Let's keep it going, man. Let's keep it going.
Okay, well, hey, we that was a thing and it happened.
And it did happen, yes.
And it did happen. I don't even remember what point we were making. Oh, if Vooch does leave and free, let's just say it all comes down, the deal doesn't get done, they can't agree on something. Do you think it is just a Adama Sanago, we initially signed you to a 2-way, but at your time's now, Dre, you're going to be starting, or do you think it's going to be, no, we're going to see whatever we can get for the $12 million in the starting level center? Like, what do you think the pivot is at that point?
I think Sanago probably makes the most sense, just because, once again, as we've said this entire offseason, the big man, even if Vooch leaves, is still not your focal point. Your focal point right now is to find the person that makes Zach LaVine the best player he can be. He's your highest paid player on the team. He's your biggest contract or cap hit right now, and he needs to be the best player that he can be until you go out and get that next guy that's going to be the development guy or the number 1 guy, whatever that ends up being, right? So to me, that's still the point guard position. And not to say that there's a bunch of big men out there that the Bulls can go get, but I could see the Bulls saying, this piece right now going into that situation, or Marco, we got Marco anyway. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is trying to find time on the floor for Marco. I doubt it, because there was plenty of time for Marco to get on there. Plenty of time for Marco.
If the Bulls announce Marko Simonovic as their opening night starting center, bro, I'm telling you right now, bro, I'm buying a Marko Simonovic jersey just because of the look.
What if he just starts cooking? Like, he just starts spraying threes from half court. He wins the tip, just grabs it and pulls that mug and knocks it down.
I tell you what,
Where this man been?
This is what we're gonna say. Bet we're gonna have a bet here. Do you think? Because let's make sure we don't agree first. Do you think that Marko Simonovic gets a double-double this season for the Chicago Bulls?
Yes, because I do think that they will play him.
And you think he gets a double-double?
You're gonna stumble into 10 and 10 one game, right?
One game stumbling into
one game.
Over under. Over under.
Like, you'll have 10 and 9, get dunked on, and Buddy will miss. But as he's like falling down, the ball will fall on his chest, and he'll just grab it. That'll be his
over under.
Board.
Are you willing to go over 2 double-doubles for Marko Simonovic?
Not over 2. I'm not going over 2. I'm going under. I'm taking the under.
You're taking the under.
You know what? 82. Is he the starter? Are we saying Vooch is leaving?
We're just saying. Regardless, whatever. This season, does Marko Simonovic gets more than 2 double-doubles this season for the Chicago Bulls?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's say it. I'll say it.
You going over?
I'll go over. Marco's getting over 2.
Bet. I'm going under. Now,
I don't know what we're getting. I don't know.
The loser has to wear a Aaron Rodgers jersey on the show.
Oh God! Nah, hold on now.
Nah.
You can't go the worst thing that could possibly be done after we put the terms together.
Felicio jersey.
I do Felicio. All right, I can do Felicio.
Bet. That's fair.
Can you buy a Felicio jersey?
We'll probably have to get that one custom made, bro.
Hey, I'm gonna just put some tape on the back of one.
Jersey or T-shirt, whichever one we can find easily available. I'm sure they got some Felicio shirts somewhere over there in Indonesia or something like that. Kai Soto will probably be wearing one at some point.
Oh, okay. All right. Now here come the racists. Here we go. Now
I'm not putting them in the description. I'll never know I say. Before we go, last topic of the day, man. We missed this one. Derrick ROse, his contract they opted out of his contract. So of course, Bulls Nation, Derrick ROse back in a Bulls jersey. It happens every single offseason. Before we go, Pat, Derrick ROse, do you want to see him back in the Chicago Bulls uniform as a marquee free? It's their veteran minimum on the back end of the bench, Matt Thomas role, that don't count. Do you want to see Derrick ROse come back to play a meaningful role for the Chicago Bulls this season at the point guard position?
No. I don't want him to have a meaningful role. I shouldn't say it like that. I want his meaningful role to be 10 minutes a game. We're sitting here, but he's the guy that is the leader, very much like he was one of the leaders on the bench in New York. Outside of that, no, I'm okay. I would love to have Derrick come back for one game and we sign him so he retires a Bull. I don't know if he still feels like he's got a ton of basketball left. I mean, I would love this like resurgence, bounce back, everything comes full circle, and we're all crying at the end of the season because he actually came back and dominated. But I'm not. There's 2 things that I fear most. One, this is going to be a money grab, and it just puts you back in a hole for another season. And there's better point guards out there that you can go get right now. And 2, that there's always that chance to seeing Derrick get hurt again. And I can't go through seeing that man get hurt in a Bulls jersey again, bro.
While I'm against Derrick ROse coming back to do anything meaningful for the Bulls, other than mentorship and stuff like that, like I will say this, like I won't lie, like as much as I don't want to see that, especially there's people still making the argument Derrick ROse can be our starting point guard. I need y'all to lay off the weed.
Woo.
But I won't lie. If Derrick ROse back in the Bulls jersey, even if Derrick ROse scores 12 points and even goes on a run where he scores like 3 back-to-back buckets, I'm gonna lose my mind, bro. It's just the nostalgia of it. I can't deny that part of it, man.
Bro, I just need to see that man make a right-left move to the bucket, up that big sweep under off the top of the glass leg. Yeah, I'll cry a little bit. But that's the thing, right? To me, that the ship is sailed. There were a couple of times where you could have got Derrick back and he didn't want to come back there. You know, you could have got him back when he went to Minnesota. You could have got him back when he was going to the Knicks and he didn't want to come back there. I don't want Derrick ROse back now when, I mean, basically every ounce of juice has been squeezed out of those knees. Shout out Zion Williamson. I want him back as the mentor for the next generation. I want him back in a situation where, okay, Ayo, we want you to take this step. and this is your city and you can put your city on your back. I want to back in those senses. I don't want to back in I need to see Derrick Rose 25 minutes a night playing basketball. But maybe it's one of those things. I mean, we can't say we haven't seen players that were like forgotten about that haven't had a bounce back in their career.
Yeah, but I think we've seen that already from him twice, so I don't know if he has a third one.
So you got a third one?
I don't know if he has a third. The fact that he's already done it twice is like, hey, shout out to
bounce
Rose.
back in there, D-Rose.
I just listen. Derrick Rose is going to always be so special to this team, to this franchise, to the city, and nobody can ever take that away from him. He's always going to be like one of my son's first time like actually paying attention to his first basketball game live was a Derrick Rose game. We went there to see Derrick Rose. Like, it's always going to be something special, but like we got to let the nostalgia go. And my biggest thing is like I can absolutely see them trouting out Derrick Rose. It's like, hey, we didn't do much. That 3-point shooting, we ain't get it. That starting point guard, we ain't get it. It's Coby. But guess what? Got Derrick
Rose
back.
Yeah,
and I'm good on that, man. I'm good on that.
I guess it just depends on the role. It depends on the role. It depends on what they want him to be. And I think realistically, here's the thing at the end of the day. For what we want Derrick Rose to come in here and do, Derrick Rose hasn't been in those situations for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't see that as the answer for the Bulls, but we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm never going to hate on seeing Derrick Rose in a Bulls jersey again. I will, however, hate on seeing Derrick Rose play 30 minutes in a Bulls jersey again. But here's the thing as well. Maybe Billy Donovan knows how to manage him. In Billy's defense, he's not going to play Derrick 30 minutes again. Time is going to run you out there and be like, I don't care about your knees. I need 48.
Listen, I cannot see another Derrick Rose injury in a Bulls uniform, though. Like this, I can't do it, bro.
Yeah.
My spirit, I can't do it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, dog. I'm with you. That mess up.
Tragic.
I don't know.
But anyway, before we go down, we get into trauma. Go ahead and send us off, brother.
Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. As they say about that, Chicago.
You can follow me at CEO Haize, CEO Haize. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We'll be back tomorrow, breaking down anything else that goes on with the Bulls pending free agency. Maybe we get a Vooch contract announced by then. We'll see, man. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This has been Locked On Bulls with no outro music either. Peace, y'all.
Peace.